kind of standing up for American values. I saw those same American values in a different way incarnated when I went over to visit my friend Elon Musk at his headquarters, walked through a place where he's literally building the rockets that are now shooting into the heavens and being reused. Got into his Tesla Model X, which is changing how we drive. And we went to the edge of the Hawthorne Airport, where Jack Northrop used to do all of his aerospace innovation. And the second largest vacuum tube in human history after the Super Collider in Europe has been put together in a straight line, and 29 student teams from around the world competed to try to put forward the first Hyperloop cars at 400 or 500 miles an hour during this tube. And it occurred to me, that's what America is about. We don't wait for others to say, we're doing it there. We innovate first. But shame on us if that innovation that gets in the ground in other places before we do it here. That's why Measure M included categories for funding as we look at autonomous and connected vehicles, as we look at aerial drones that will carry people, as we look at new tunneling technologies. Elon, some of you might have seen in the news, tweeted, we have to figure out how we can tunnel more quickly. And everybody laughed, and he said, no, seriously, and then he bought himself equipment that week, and when I went and visited him, he was already starting to dig a hole, and he said, do I need a permit for any of this? I said, maybe you should wait, but we might do a partnership with him. He's having his SpaceX engineers take apart the boring machines that haven't really been changed in about 40 years. And he's like, I think we can get this 10x faster. Now, I didn't tell him about what it's like to haul all the dirt around your city when if you could be 10 pounds. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that come with it, but that's what America does. Maybe it's only 2 or 3 times faster, but imagine if we could be doing this at 3 times the pace, what it would mean to be able to have a tunnel that goes from LAX to Union Station nonstop, so that we could have people not just on the slower Crenshaw line that'll connect us, but in 15 minutes be at that hub that then connects us with high-speed rail through the state. Think about what it would mean for us to continue to innovate and to look forward. And our innovation doesn't just have to be in those physical projects that are about transit and transportation. With water, this is a second kind of Mulholland moment. Despite this record year, we're experiencing these huge shifts in climate change and what will generally be much more drought-stricken years. We only pull about 15% of our water out of the ground here locally. And I set the goal of making that 50% by 2035. I just finished the book, I don't know if some of you have read it, Thirsty. It's the story of William Mulholland. It's a great engineering story, so put it on your reading list. The first 2/3 are beautiful. He's kind of an untrained, self-taught engineer, but I think that was an unfair thing. He read all the engineering stuff. He didn't have a degree formally in it, but he was one of the great engineers. The last third is kind of tragic because it's about the one dam that broke that he did build, the San Francisco Dam, and how many people died from that. But it showed just the sheer courage of that moment. A city that had gone from 10,000 to 50,000 to 200,000 and was on the verge of being 1 million people but was running out of water. And how human ingenuity figured out a way, unfortunately in this case, to steal water and bring it here. But now we're at the next generation of what's our kind of water moment, our second Mulholland moment, to be able to recycle and reuse that water. Just a few miles to the east of here by LAX, our Hyperion treatment plant washes out to the ocean the equivalent of 60% of our daily water use. Almost a drinkable standard. It's a little more saline, but it's no longer polluted wastewater. And yet some people want to take seawater and desalinate it, which is 10 times more energy and probably compounds the whole reason we have a drought by having more emissions. So can't we be smart and figure out a way to purify that water and get past the politics that killed that in the past because somebody called it toilet to tap, and we've rebranded it showers to flowers, which is much more palatable. We can do big things again, is my point, whether it's water, whether it's bridges, whether it's transit, whether it's our airports, whether it's our ports, and it's whether it's the way we get around this city. We've installed 1,300 electrical vehicle charging stations just in the last year, the largest city government or the largest fleet of any city government of electric vehicles, and we're saving 40% on fuel and maintenance costs the first year we've done it. And whether it's standing up for our values, like the 70 mayors who joined me as we wrote a letter to then President-elect Trump and continue to state that now, that we can't ignore the impact of climate change because engineers and mayors have to deal with what happens when we do ignore that. Or whether it's looking at the possibilities of creating great middle-class, non-robotic, importable jobs, of building infrastructure, which would last us for the next 3 or 4 decades and create a generation of prosperity here. Now is the time to do it. So who, if not us, will do this? Who, if not us, can continue reaching to the stars and digging in the ground, keep in mind the limited resources we have, but continue to have a healthy life and prosperous communities. I couldn't be more excited to work with ASCE and this membership on reimagining this moment. Mayors are kind of political engineers. We have to sometimes deal with the complexity of the same problems in a different way. You have, much more problems that are linked much more to physics and the mathematics and the physical laws. I have to kind of deal with the human laws of human behavior and getting agreements and moving them forward. But politicians need engineers and engineers need politicians, because together, if we figure out a way for you all to have the political savvy that this group does, and for me to understand the physical work that you do, allows us to be the translators and the interpreters to a general public that we all serve, who is thirsting for a better way forward. Shorter commutes, safer roads, smoother rides, quicker commutes, quicker trips, and ultimately to see the next generation of life prosper in the same way that we've been able to, because our mothers and fathers and our grandparents invested in the infrastructure that we have around us. So I hope that you'll keep coming back to LA to see a city on the move. We're not the only one, and I want many other cities to do exactly what we're doing, because America needs that, and we're all linked to each other in this country. But if we continue to believe in engineering, continue to believe in innovation, continue to believe in leverage, continue to lobby local government and state and federal governments to step up and do their jobs, this will be one of those great decades of growth in this city, this state, and in this nation. And I think something which we can all be proud to be part of that A in the ASCE once again. Thank you so much.